Well, I'm back with more DIY bodyworks and wellness tips, and as always, I love to feature my publication, I Touch Myself, and I like it. It is a DIY self-massage, acupressure, reflexology, and Wealth-flex-ology journal recorder, and I'm inviting you in my time this morning of me just getting prepared to do a little bit of body work before I get my day started. So I am going to be just lotioning my feet just a little bit. It's kind of going to be freestyle. However, I'm guided to support myself. I'm always trying to work on my immunity, and so that's always good. And before getting started, the best way to actually get started anytime you actually are doing work on yourself, on your feet, is to actually open up your hips, and this is called the hip flexor. So you take the blades of your hands and put them under your ankle bones, and then you start warming up feet. I'll come and do it on the other side. And also just do a spinal twist here, foot twist. It's just getting the foot warmed up. So let me put a little bit more lotion on this foot here. I'm going to get it warmed up as well. So, see? Right? And then just a few twists. So I'm going to actually invite you to be present with me for yourself. You know, join in, and just however you feel guided to support yourself, you can do what I'm doing for sure. But I want you to be intentional about just having your own time now. So I'm going to invite everyone to take 3 nice deep breaths, please. Okay. So I'm just going to warm my foot up a little bit more just by rubbing it. So, and what I'll do is you all can watch me, what I'm doing, and then I'll just give kind of some time for you to do that as well. I know sometimes it's hard to actually maybe do this along with me, but if I do something first and then give you just a few moments to do it as well. So, but we all can be rubbing our feet at this time. So, and what I want you to do during this time is to just be present and to see if there's an area on your foot, and even on your hands too, because I'll get into some of that as well. But just see, is there an area that is desiring some attention right now? So be intentional about this. Okay. And if you want to go get some lotion or so to put on your hands and to rub in your feet or some type of oil, you can do that. So I'll give you just a few more moments. I'm just going to spend time just rubbing my feet here, and like I said, you all can participate in this as well. We're just being intentional, just seeing what are some areas that really need some attention. And if nothing calls out to you, then just take this time just to show your feet some love here. Okay. So I do have an area that's calling out to me, and I'll start working on that in just a moment. Just giving you all just a little bit more time. So, okay. All right. So right now, whichever area called out to you, I want you to go to that area and press it and take a nice deep breath. Okay. And if no area called out to you, then, just continue to sort of just rub your feet. It doesn't hurt to show your feet some love, especially before you get your day started. It would depend on what time of day it is that you are, that you're watching this. It doesn't really matter. Just take time out for yourself. It's really important. So before I actually start working on the area that is sort of calling me at this moment, I'm going to just start off with some spinal walks, right? So give me just a moment. Let me reposition myself so you can maybe better see me here. All right. So let me do it first, and then I'm going to invite you all to do it. So I'm just walking up the spine here, worm walking, so to speak. This is one I highly emphasize doing, because it's working on your central nervous system, and that is extremely important. It's the communications hub, for the body, and get into working the brain in just a little bit. But all right, so I think that's about 3 times that I've done, and that's what I normally recommend. But in case it wasn't, let me do it one more time. I lost count here. So for me, it's good for me to do it 5 times on myself, actually. Okay, so I've done that. Now I want you to take a few moments to do that as well. I'm going to thumb walk again, but I'm going to be intentional, so you can do this with me. We'll do it a little bit slower here, and but just go at your own pace, But my goal this morning is for you all to join me in this initiative, because you really need to take this time out to be present with yourself. And sometimes, you're going to be here watching the video, right? So you might as well participate. So I'm just going to, like I said, slow the process down a little bit where you can do it with me. Okay. And we'll go back up again. All right, and now we're going to start working. We're going to work on the brain, work the face, I'll work the neck, a little bit of the thyroid here. So just kind of worm walk down. And I'm going to tell you a few of the areas that are really important to pay attention to. And all this is great for immunity for sure. All right, so the brain is right in here. So if you want to get your brain working and stimulating, especially in the morning. I know some of you are probably getting your tea and your coffee and everything, but it's like, hey, take a little bit of time out to work in this area. So get your mind right in the morning, right? All right, then right in here is the pineal gland, also known as the third eye in the chakra energy body system. So just press in there, take a deep breath. And then right up underneath is the pituitary gland. So let's work in here. You see a lot of my videos, I focus on the central nervous system. And there's a reason for that. All right. So let's work the neck. Right? It's the neck reflex. Get yourself loosened up already before you, like I said, get your day started. Gonna work here, work both sides. So you all can be doing this along with me. Moving at a good pace for participation. So then what we do, just give the overall toe some love here. Yeah. All right, so we're going to come right in here. So you can work the thyroid and the thymus gland. So start Just rubbing. You can press, take a deep breath. Now some of you right in here may be feeling that there's a bone, right? And so let's actually press up against this. Some of you might feel some tenderness, and if you do, just work that area. I'm pretty good right in here right now, but I know sometimes there is that. Let me actually turn my foot to a different angle so I can see if I can get in there a little bit. So I'm up underneath right here, and normally that's where you can really feel some tenderness, but I guess, you know, I've done quite a bit of work on myself recently that I'm really good in this area, but I definitely want to still stimulate this just for my overall well-being, because again, working on the immune system here. So yeah, so let's just, you know, do some rubbing here. And so before actually coming to do some work on the sinus pads, I'm going to come over to an area, and actually the area that was calling me, that I thought I had a little tenderness, I actually don't have that anymore. I can't even find a trace of it. And working the brain and, you know, and also in this area, wow. So I'm actually glad I did not start with the area that was just giving me a little something. It wasn't anything major. It was just some attention, you know, can go there just because I was feeling it. But I wasn't actually guided to start working there, which is good. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when you're having some type of pain or discomfort or just anything, just a little something, this is why it's best to be present, because you don't know if you need to touch another area in order to stimulate better functionality in another area. So that's the thing about being very intentional. And sometimes things that are very obvious, you know, we think we need to go directly to that, but this is about being in relationship with your body. And so I was guided to do something else, and it produced the results. So I'm actually going to get a little bit more lotion here. Yeah, feeling more foot massaginess in the moment, so not a word, but but it is one for now. So just giving you all a moment too. So get some oil or lotion or whatever, and just, you know, rub your feet. And it may be also too that you take this time out just to oil yourself, or just to, you know, better moisturize yourself. So I just want this to be intentional time. I've been coming on more recently doing just these in the moment videos where I'm, you know, working on myself, so to speak, and just allowing it to be freestyle. And I want you all, like I said, to be able to participate, you know, during this time too. But again, if you can't, that's okay. You can watch this and then come back. So, all right. So, okay, just rubbing here. So at this moment, go to where you feel guided to start just rubbing or working, you know, on yourself. I am going to, though, do a little bit of kidney work here. So I'm coming under, you can, under the kind of the second and third toe down here, right in the middle, you can do that and do some hooks. Yeah. Show the adrenal area some love too. Okay. And then I'm just going to do some rubbing on the heel. This area right here, from here down, is a really good area to work to really stimulate the circulation, really for your overall foot. Just doing some rubbing. Like I said, I'm just allowing myself just to be guided. Again, this all this supporting the immune system too. And anytime you can rub in this area, the intestines, which where your majority of your immune system is, you know, this is good to do that. I am, though, let's see here, I'm going to do a little bladder work here. So it's on the side. normally there's like a puffy, puffiness or so on some feet. It's gonna work your bladder. So yeah, not too much, just doing just a little something. Okay. So I want you also to put in the comments, what section that you are working on, and also just what you were feeling during this time. So right now I'm feeling really good because there are, like I said, places that can be tender at times, and it doesn't matter too, even when you do a lot of this work on yourself. And I've mentioned in other videos, it just depends too, like on floors that you walk on, shoes, that you wear, can sometimes pose a few challenges, for you. And so it's just good to be able to just, spend some time, taking care of yourself as often as possible when it comes to this. The power of the touch is just, it's incredible. It's amazing. And just like we need in human connectivity, hugs and affection, to a certain extent, but when you can give it to yourself and this type of way for your total well-being, it's just amazing to be able to support yourself in this way. I'm going to come back over to the bladder area here. I felt guided to come here, so I'm just going to work it. You said you all work in the areas that are calling you, but definitely you can, do what I'm doing here. So I'm just working here, and those of you who want to join in and work, in your bladder areas, come right in here and just make some circles or so. Do a little dot to dot there. Get some rubbing. Not too much. I don't want anybody blaming me saying I made them have to go use the bathroom. Just do it according to your guidance. But some of you may need to go. Alright. So I'm going to work a little bit in this area here. This is another area that you really can't overwork, I should say. I guess you could, but when you're not doing it long term, like I'm just going to spend just a little bit of time here working in your track area, to me is so important. Even if you don't have anything going on in terms of constipation or discomfort or anything, or gas, this is just a good area, to rub and to do a little dot to dot, to do a little reflexology. Okay. All right. So that's good for the right foot. I'm not actually feeling guided to spend time on the sinuses there, so we'll just see what the left foot presents here. Or maybe that I'll work on my sinuses on my hands. So, okay, I'm going to actually spend time on my ankles here. Just doing some. Again, I would love for you all to join me. So, but this is your time. Again, just however you are touching yourself, during this time, appropriately, obviously. Put that in the comments. And some of you may feel guided even to do some head massaging, as well. So, just however, again, this is just intentional time for you to be just taking a little bit of time out, to work, to work on yourself. Okay, so I'm just being present here. Now, how I mentioned that on this foot, I didn't feel any, like, little tenderness on, in that area. In here, it's not really tender, but there is just a little something right there. And a little something is, it's not that deep, but I'm still going to work the area. Now, certain areas on your feet that you typically will have sometimes a little something, a little tenderness, or something that you can feel is in this area, like up against the bone here, this area here. And then also in the valleys. you know, where the bones connect, or so. You feel a little something there, and that doesn't mean something's wrong. It's just those spots are a little bit more sensitive. So yes, I'm actually working under the adrenal area, but right in here, you said get in there in that bone. I'm going to work my respiratory system. This is what's calling me now. Okay, so this is a great place to be working the respiratory. These are the lungs right in here, so that's good. But right in here, I'm actually going to dig in and hold. Got lotion all over my feet here. Some deep breathing here. And sometimes when you breathe in, when you touch and breathe into a spot, you'd be amazed how good it feels, how much pressure it relieves. It takes stress off the body in a lot of different areas. So I'm also feeling guided to be present with the Reflexology, Wealth-flex-ology, aspect. So I'll just be intentional about that. Okay. All right, so work on the sinuses a little bit. I'm going to dig in here, in between the toes, and through the piano hands here. All right, so I'm actually going to do some hand reflexology. So I'm going to work on my sinuses and find them on the tips. So right here, find them on the tips. So there. So, and I'm actually working the brain again, because this is the spine and the brain, much like on the foot. Yeah, so I'm just going to do that. Just lightly touching them, You can just gently walk if you want. I'm not going to spend too much time here. I don't have a whole lot going on. But because we have interesting weather, I just like to get out ahead and just, show some love and support. So I'm actually going to dig in a little here. So let's do some hand massage, right? So, and again, I'd love for you to share with me in the comments what you are working on during this time, whether you're following what I'm doing or just freestyling it. Yeah, just freestyling it. So, it's all about just stimulating, the circulation, getting movement going. I said this can be a very non-intimidating process. You get benefits just by doing exactly what I'm doing here. I always recommend people do take time and, massage their ankles and their wrists. So I'm going to spend a little time here. Do a little hip work here too. We work the hip flexors and the warm up. I'm going to do just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to rub all over the hand. I get so tempted to really break off into teaching and training, and sometimes when I'm doing this, it's like I just need to just demonstrate it, and all the time it's not so important that you know where every reflex or so is, or for acupressure, acupuncture, especially when we're just more so in just a massaging way, but you are touching certain certain points. I have stirred up my stomach. I worked in that area. Now I can feel my stomach queuing up to want to growl. So Which means I'll be cutting this a little short. But really just getting up here, just, showing yourself, like I said, some love and some supporting your well-being. And sometimes it's good to get up and do it early. And the reason for that, because oftentimes people get into their day and then they don't actually take, the time out to, do some care for themselves, self-care. So sometimes you got to jump on it early. And it doesn't have to be long. I mean, you can do 2 to 5 minutes, if you get up, if you meditate, you have your devotion time or so. Just incorporate doing some self-touch. Let's get that blood away. And those of us who have to use our hands quite a bit, and especially, those within this profession that have to work on, individuals and also do the regular work on themselves, it's really important to keep that circulation going. But then there's also the time where you need to allow your hands to rest. And I certainly, take that time out. I feel that I will come back probably later and do some acupressure, a little bit of acupressure on myself, some areas. I'm actually going to touch right in here. This actually helps if you ever have a headache. So you can touch right in here. I don't have a headache, but what I do feel is a little onset of pressure, and I think that is just because of the weather shifting. Sometimes the patterns can go from extremes. They operate in extremes, I should say, going from being really cold to then warming up or rainy or so. And a lot of times that is really hard on the body to try to adapt to those, patterns fluctuating. But when you can support yourself with your overall well-being, then the chances are that when certain things come up, you aren't as impacted by them as you could be. And sometimes maybe you're not impacted at all. So before closing down, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to work just in this area. That's just where I'm being guided. Just to rub, not to do anything too deep, just to rub. I'm going to be present here. And I brought up about the Wealth-flex-ology aspect, which, my journal recorder has a section that focuses on that and explains, exactly what that is. And it's not just about wealth in terms of the financial aspect. It really is a holistic approach. And that's actually, as I'm saying that, that's what's coming up for me, is because I am also certified in, holistic wellness, holistic health, and maybe putting something together more comprehensive for you all, and maybe like in a little mini course, format. And it's creating that sacred space opportunity for you to support yourself. I'm working in this area too, so I'm, like I said, I'm just following the guidance here. And also just continuing to be present with that holistic well-being, holistic health intention around the wealth and life flexology aspect. So maybe there's something around just the holistic living in a customized way, so that you all can customize for yourself what's going to be best for you, finding out, what's most in alignment for you. And me just creating the space and the opportunity. And a lot of times my publications do that, and courses and things that I have, but this one is calling forth to be something a little bit more comprehensive and cohesive in terms of really entering into a new dimension of the holistic approach for your life, holistic, well-being. So yeah, we'll see. So I'm going to just come back in here just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to close this down. Just rub the feet here. Bring that energy down here since we've, done a little bit of work in there. All right, so thank you for being with me, and I hope that you got benefits, from this as well. Again, let me know in the comments what you worked on either during this time or, even after. I would love to hear how you're supporting yourself, because when you share what you are doing, it's really helping others, to invite them into this time too, to take care of themselves, but also you're being an example, for other people. So just as I'm doing this for you all and demonstrating, your comments and your testimonies are doing the same, for others. So thanks again, and as always, you can pick up a copy of I Touch Myself and I Like It on Amazon, but I will have a link in the description for you to secure a copy if you haven't already. And you can also learn more about me and other works that I do.